Viewer discretion is advised. This is The Tea is Toxic.
Nikki, hey baby. Can you hear me? Whoa, why you come in like that?
Listen, babe, I'm still a little drunk from last night. So.
What happened last night?
I had a wedding. My brother's best friend, who's like a brother to me, he got married yesterday.
Did you have a nightcap?
No, I didn't actually.
I'm listening.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, I pretty much drank out the bar. Damn. Enough that I missed my exam this morning.
Yeah.
I know.
Now you gotta lie to your professor, blame it on the baby. You gotta be like, no, we were up all night sick. Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
Like that.
I gotta figure something out.
And don't let them ever listen to this podcast.
Ever.
That's what's up, though. I'm happy you had a good time. I actually had an incident happen before, a little quick AJ's Toxic Tea, where there was an incident that occurred, and maybe I'll talk about it later down the line, where the person I was in a relationship with had cheated like blatantly in my face, and like I walked out of the home, but I was drunk, so I didn't like leave the area. I just drove to like a nearby hotel. What was that? Red Roof, I think it was. It was neat. It was nice though, but because it was like a more uppity area. And so while I was getting my room key, a guy walks in who had just finished at a wedding and had one of the bridesmaids. He was like one of the groomsmen, and he had one of the bridesmaids with him. And he was like, yo, you want to come back to our room? Like, we could do a little something. I was like, oh, there's my opportunity to just up and show my ass after seeing what I just saw. But I was like, nah, I'm good. Don't worry about it. I waited a week later and then I cheated.
Listen, that was an opportunity.
It was, and he was fine too, girl. But don't nobody want no all day sweaty balls near them. He just came back from a wedding. Yeah, no.
Not the all day sweaty balls.
Yes, big time. Nikki, what's your favorite freak song that you should not have listened to as a kid? Give me your top threes. Top three freak songs you should have never listened to as a kid.
My Neck.
Oh, all you ladies pop that pussy like this.
Shake your body, don't stop, don't. Let's do it. That was my song. Obviously I listened to the radio version, and then when I got older and I listened, I was like, God damn, bitch.
Yeah.
And what's your fantasy? Ludacris and
Splash Waterfalls. I think that's what that one's called. But they have the original and then they have the remix.
Oh, for real?
Because I think like Up on the Roof, tell your boboyfriend not to be mad at me. Yeah, I think the remix. You ever heard the remix like, oh, boom, 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 oh, boom, 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 oh.
No, but I'm about to like.
You never heard that one? You never heard the Splash Waterfalls remix? It's so much better than the original.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Girl, he'd be like, say, fuck me. You wanna do some things? Then I'm sending it.
Yes, I have. Now that you just said that, yeah.
That remix is so fire.
It is. But that was a song I should have listened to.
What's the other?
I don't know. What would be the other one? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was such an Eminem fan, so like anything Eminem, probably I shouldn't have listened.
But Eminem didn't have nothing freaky. He had crazy stuff back then, but he had nothing like
right. But he had nothing freaky. But I that's what I'm saying. Like I was such a like that's all I listened to. So to say like those are probably the two biggest freak. No, I just posted one too. Little Kim.
Which Little Kim song?
Lick.
How many licks does it take till you get to that center? with Cisco.
Yeah. That's my third one. Yo, when that song comes on, I'm a whole whore.
Yes, because these are like horror. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like a horror opera.
Yeah,
it's a horror opera, right? You know it's good when the first thing you want to do is spread your legs from the windows to the walls to the sweat drip down his balls. Like literally, it's a horror opera.
Yeah.
Okay, my top three. 1, Uchi Wally Wally, unedited. Uchi Wally Wally, Uchi Bang Bang. He really got my sad. Yeah, that John fire. Now my second one I would say is I've been singing Little Kim since I was 8. And that's bonkers. But that first Lil Kim John I heard with Bad Boy, like, oh, yo, shorty, won't you come get a bag of the, I'll be undressed in the bra or see-through. That one, yes. And then the third one, if it comes down to me showing my entire ass, Cash Money has to take over for the 99 into the 2000s.
Girl, you put the bed.
Y'all know what that sound is. If you understand the culture, you know what's happening right now.
Yeah,
your ears when you hear. You already stop fucking playing with me. You know what we're doing. Rub it like it's hard. Yes. You know what's so crazy? People sleep on these freak songs. They always be like baby makers, and they go straight to like, baby, won't you let me? No, stop. Like, no. We was fucking to the fast stuff too. That's why our kids is wild and running around the house. Crazy. Because we weren't having sex to the pretty songs that were nasty. Okay, I did not have sex to no damn 112. I want to make love. Okay.
No, I'm out here. To my neck, my back.
I'm over here. My dick suck brings all the boys to the yard. It's better than yours.
Yep. Right. Trying to compete with the damn beat.
And it's crazy because these are technically baby makers. We need to respect all baby maker songs. And I think the ratchet shit falls into baby maker also. That shit is fire depending on the energy and what you're doing and where you're at. And how hard the strokes are, it's still a baby maker. Which brings us to the episode.
Dun dun dun! I was waiting for it. I was like, yo, I feel like this bitch about to get me really into some toxic shit right now.
As long as you know, every time you come here, you already know. Let me explain something this too. Real quick commercial for anybody listening. And speed past 30 seconds if you don't want commercial breaks, because I'm a commercial bitch. Coming to the toxic tea without being strapped into your booster seat is bonkers to me. Because you know what it be. Elemental P, bitch. Stop playing. You already know.
Yeah. In the name, like, toxic. Don't come over here and think that we're kumbayaing over here.
That's on period. We're kumbaya, but the stories are not kumbaya.
I was just about to be.
I'm gonna give this. Okay. I'm gonna give this story away very early, and then we'll go through it. Now, this I got from a documentary on Netflix that you guys can check out, and I'm gonna start by letting you know the documentary. I don't know if you know it, Nikki, but I'm going to say the name of the documentary is called Our Father.
Okay.
And this title for this episode, which I never say because I always come up with it at the end, is called Daddy's Baby, Mama's Maybe.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Daddy's Baby,
Mama's Maybe. Oh, rum, bum, bum.
Let's get it.
Okay. During the 1970s and 80s, and feel free to stop me at any time, Nikki, because I'm literally reading right off the article this time, you guys. That way we can get all the little juicy tidbits that somebody else did the research on.
Nice.
During the 1970s and 80s, a fertility specialist in Indiana named Dr. Donald Klein inseminated dozens. You okay? You all right?
Bitch, I know where we're going. Sorry. Yo, and if you saw my face, I was like, I'm screaming in my head, this nigga.
Right. So, viewers, Dr. Donald Klein inseminated dozens of patients with his own sperm without their knowledge or consent. The stories of some of these women and at the least, 94 biological children of Klein are told in a new documentary, Our Father, which premiered on Netflix in May of 2023, you guys. So go check it out. It's really good. The film, which features interviews with the parents and their children, as well as others close to the situation, chronicles the siblings' path to uncovering the truth of their biological parentage. And it spotlights their fury and resolve as they fail to see Klein answer for his crimes in court. In a moment when the right to safe and informed reproductive care is under threat in the U.S., Our Father is particularly resonant given the questions it raises about how our legal system views those seeking control over their own reproductive choice and restitution when that autonomy, ooh, that was a big one, y'all. Autonomy. Take that with you guys.
And that's the word of the day.
It's the word. Conjunction junction, what's your function, bitches? When that autonomy is violated. Now, let's get into some of this. And let me take another commercial break and pause to say, a couple of episodes ago, you guys, I did a story about things that toxic women have done to get pregnant, and the lengths that they'll go to get that bag from the guy so that they're taken care of. And I mentioned during that time that there's no legal crime against what's called sperm theft. But it really is giving that something needs to be put in place for the offenders that abuse this.
Yeah.
Because this falls under some form of sperm theft as well. Like, because
so
there's no
this guy didn't even go to jail? Nothing happened to him?
We're going to get into it. So, Jacoba Ballard's life changed after she took an at-home DNA test and learned she had 7 half-siblings. After reaching out to her newfound family members and researching the mystery of their shared relation, Ballard, I'm going to go with Ballard because I'm from the North. The North remembers. And her siblings soon discovered with horror that their parents' trusted doctor, what the parents' trusted doctor had done. I'm sorry, you guys, that's the only time I'm going to stutter because I hate listening to podcasts that stutter. The number of confirmed siblings continued to grow as more people added their DNA to 23andMe's database. Each time she saw a new connection appear on her profile, she'd still herself before reaching out to deliver the news. I know I'm going to call them and I'm going to ruin their life, she says in the documentary. So y'all, in the documentary, it was crazy because every time they found someone new, they'd have to call and be like, hey, so we need you to sit down. Some things you got to find out real quick, hunty. Like literally just blowing every adult's mind.
That the nigga sitting beside you ain't your father. This nigga the father, and I'm your sister. Hello.
Yeah. Like, so, okay. It just completely washes away your identity, Julia Harmon, another sibling, says. You really have no idea who you are anymore. Our Father includes interviews with 8 of the 94 siblings. Because of Klein's lack of cooperation and the unknown number of patients he had the opportunity to inseminate, up until he stopped practicing in, you guys ready? 2009. There is no way to know for sure.
Stopped practicing in 2009.
And he's been doing this since the 70s. There's no way to know for sure how many siblings there may be. This is why he may have done it.
I was just about to say, what's the reason? What's the reason?
Our Father suggests Klein may have been motivated by ideology born of his affiliation with an extremist Christian sect called, and it's always some fucking extremist Christian called Quiverful. First of all, that sounds like somebody fucking. Let me just say.
That's a whole cult. That screams cult.
I haven't used the word quiver in a very long time. It's giving 1980s romance book as he quivered inside of me. Like, what the fuck? Quiverful, which encourages followers to reproduce as prolifically as possible to meet God's mandate to, quote, be fruitful and multiply, and install adherents in position of power. Sound familiar? Surveying the blonde hair and blue eyes of many of Klein's offspring, the film briefly meditates on whether Klein's crusade may have had white supremacist underpinnings.
So no one's actually ever talked to this man.
He does not, I don't believe he does not speak in the documentary. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm Gucci. Y'all catch me if you can, bitches.
No,
like, you know what I mean?
That's what he's.
Because let's talk about it. We're talking about a documentary in 2023. This fool retired about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Still kicking too. Klein's faith, which developed after he accidentally struck and killed a young girl with his car, pervaded his practice as a doctor. He had his staff recite prayers together, advised patients to pray on their treatment choices, decorated his office with Christian sayings, and had an affinity for the verse Jeremiah 1:5, which says, "Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you," which is often featured in material extolling the quiverful lifestyle. Klein has not publicly acknowledged or commented ties to the tradition, so they can't even get him on that. As the siblings waited for authorities to take action, Klein lived as a pillar of the community and an elder of his church. He's performing baptisms in his backyard swimming pool. He also began, I like this, obliquely threatening the siblings with retribution should they continue their effort to bring charges against him.
Wait a minute. You gonna charge me for your wrongdoing? Father. Yes, Father. That is who you are to me.
Father, can you hear me?
He cannot, but he's gonna send you some papers.
Yeah.
Continue.
He said, cease and desist, bitch.
Like, dead ass. This man is rude.
Here's what's so crazy. Remember Ballard, one of the first to do it, the first to see it, the first to find it? Lugnuts disappeared off of her car one day.
Poof, be gone.
Harmon says she found her hard drive suddenly wiped clean of all mention of Klein, and all of her research vanished overnight. Another sibling, Heather Wook, who shared her story publicly, began receiving phone calls pointedly inquiring if she was interested in purchasing a cemetery plot. So not only is this man
is really out here harassing his children.
Yes, not only for all intents and purposes, not only is he a rapist, but now you're also a gangster.
No, like I was just about to say a real G, a real
gangster.
G.
Calling me to ask me if I'd like to purchase my cemetery plot. You might as well just say Paulie sleeps with the fishes. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? That shit is bonkers. I wish.
Tell me you're gonna kill me without telling me you're gonna kill me.
You got me chopped. When the county prosecutors finally investigated Klein, the results were disappointing to the siblings. Exactly. The women he inseminated and their families, they had hoped an investigation into his medical practice would yield sufficient evidence to bring charges of rape. According to prosecutors at the time, however, Klein did not commit rape against the women he inseminated with his own sperm without their knowledge or consent. So I think that because the definition of rape is probably so tight-knit, and let me go ahead and look it up real quick. Let's see here. Definition.
Because he didn't actually...
So the definition... What happened?
He didn't actually like rape them. He just inseminated the.
So here's the reason why exactly. So there's one specific word 2 specific words. No, 1. Maybe 1. Okay. Rape is a type of sexual assault involving sexual intercourse or other forms of sexual penetration carried out against a person without their consent. So I think what draws, like what makes it so tight knit, and I'm not a lawyer, don't get me wrong, but what happens is, was there intercourse? Yes. Right? Like, say hypothetically, if you use a turkey baster, but the intercourse was understood. What the manipulation is the sperm that was being inserted into you by permission of intercourse, or by permission of penetration, not intercourse, penetration. So it's like, I advise, like, I gave the green light for you to penetrate me with this turkey baster under the pretense that my husband's sperm would be in there, but that's to be implied. So therefore it leaves this open, like, gap. But it also, because I didn't ask, you didn't tell.
Right, but it also leaves the ability as a doctor, right? Because he has his own personal moral rights. Mm-hmm. So he using it as like him putting the baster in. Technically, he's doing his job. Like, he's allowed to insert, because that's what you came here for, is for me to insert. So that is why you use the rape, because there was no actual sexual encounter. You came here as me being a fertility doctor.
You knew there'd be some form of penetration without intercourse.
This man is slick, sly.
As is often and infuriatingly the case in the U.S. justice system, in order to pursue Klein for the crime he had committed, it was necessary to prosecute him for something else. So it's like, okay, let's find something else. That way, at least he's behind bars for something, okay? So in 2017, he was brought to trial, facing 2 counts of felony obstruction of justice for lying during the investigation. So they had to get him on telling fibs.
Right, but I don't know what your system's like there, but here, like, as a doctor, what he did was immoral to his
but immoral and illegal are 2 different things.
But he has a license, and that license, it won't get you in jail, but it will get removed.
You might get debarred. What is it? Not barred. Like, you might get your license. What is that? Revoked or suspended or whatever. But it doesn't matter, because
it doesn't, because he's retired.
It's 2009 and he's out. So
so that's the only thing they can do, is like try to find something else. That sucks.
Yeah. But the obstruction of justice charges meant that no evidence related to Klein's actions toward his former patients was admissible. Though those actions constituted the injustice for which the siblings and their parents were truly seeking restitution, Klein did plead guilty and received 2 suspended sentences, meaning he served no jail time and a $500 fine.
Oh, so overpopulating the world, pay $500 and pass go.
Well, that's the catch. He did not overpopulate the world, and that's, let me rephrase. He did not go to court for overpopulating the world. And since they were trying to get him on something to lock him up, 2 things. 1, they could not bring up his, the moral injustices that he committed, because it had nothing whatsoever to do with the summons.
Yeah.
And 2, now you guys got to eat that, because double jeopardy, he can't go back again for the same crime twice. Now that if you're trying to find something new, if you already took him for lying, you took him for lying. He's not in jail. There's no appeals here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is an appeal. If there's a lawyer listening, please let me know. Now, in 2018, the siblings' lobbying, led by Matt White and his mother, Liz White, contributed to the passing of Indiana's fertility fraud law. There is still no federal law on the subject. So fertility fraud law, let me see if it's going to tell me what that is. I think it's going to tell me the same old thing. Hold on 1 second. Let's see, y'all. Let's see.
I feel like while you're looking it up, let me do a guess, a toxic guess. fertility fraud law. Yeah, he probably did some fertility fraud law because you're a fraudster, sir. You lied to these women about giving them the appropriate fertility, and I feel he's not the only doctor that did this.
He probably isn't. And you get these women, they're so excited. These men are so excited.
Yeah, because I have babies, and you're telling me that I can come in and have you insert and do whatever needs to be done for me to have a baby.
So this is what they had to do. So fertility fraud law. I don't know what state this is in, but I'm going to read you what that is. A person is guilty of a Class B felony if a healthcare provider knowingly uses unauthorized human reproductive material, with 5 to 20 years in prison and a fine of up to $15,000. Like, now we're talking.
That's what I'm saying. Like, now that, like, that should be the whole entire country. That should be a law for everybody. It shouldn't just be a state law.
And it's sad because February 3rd, 2023, the question, you Google, you guys, and it'll give you more questions over and over again.
Yeah.
It was, is fertility fraud common, which is something that you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
And it says fertility fraud is quite common in the United States. How? Because fertility clinics and doctors are far too free from accountability. Donor-conceived persons face many tough questions about their identity. We were watching, spoiler alert, if you didn't watch it, that's on you now, you know what happened. We were watching American Horror Stories, I believe it was.
Love
so
it.
Now you guys, there's American Horror Story, and then there's American Horror Stories.
Yes,
like that got goosebumps, right? And so there was an episode where a girl wanted to find out who her father was, and her mother and her lived in this apartment building in New York. Her best friend was her next door neighbor, this boy or whatever that she was really cool with, had a little bit of a crush on, but they were more like best friends than anything. And the mom was like, listen, fertility clinic, whatever. But the family was so tight. Like, the moms were best friends, the whole nine. The girl, she just grew up with her mom because her mom did a donor situation, whatever. So she finally goes to try and get her information from the clinic because her mother would not give it to her. Okay. And then when she goes there, come to find out, she ain't in no damn system.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing this one.
So what happened was, she does like a DNA thing or some nonsense. Long story short, you guys, spoiler, it comes back that the dad of her best friend is her
father. Yeah.
And her mother and him had an affair all them years ago, and the best friend's mom didn't know.
So that's her brother. I remember that one. She was like a redhead, right? The girl?
Something like that, yep. And it was just like, well, damn, shorty, like, here's the thing. It's hard to have those kinds of conversations with your kids. There's someone that I know whose mother did not tell them till they were 30 that who they thought was their father was not their father their whole life.
And that fucks people up.
It really does. It really does. And it puts into question your identity. You snatched all this time from me.
Like, so who is my father? And then the things that I thought was my father, or like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, these little traits I had, I thought I got them from him. I didn't. So who did I get them from?
So who is this man? Who is this stranger in my life that you made a stranger?
Yeah.
And that's a complicated situation, because to me, I think with children, they're very adaptable. So the sooner you introduce them to certain things, the sooner they will adapt to the environment or the changes in their life.
Yeah.
But if you hold off until they're an adult and well past the ability to forgive and forget, you put yourself in a compromising situation.
You do.
You get what I'm saying? Like, my sons, they know who they are. They know who they belong to, all of that. It's a whole story, y'all. It's not podcast appropriate because I would need the green light from different people. But what I will say is, anything that I did in my life that would have impacted them, they were aware of well before they even left elementary school. Yeah. And it's because it's my responsibility to properly deliver information that will allow them to let it go down smoothly without it impacting how they feel about themselves. And so that's the reason why I chose to do that way. For any parent listening, men or women, she, he, they, green, yellow, whatever. My thing about it is
tell the children, like,
tell the truth. Yeah, because you're their first point of contact. And the minute they feel they can't trust you, you're leading them down a really dark path.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
I see that all the time. Like, I've heard in my personal life so many times of people saying, I didn't find out that wasn't my father until he passed, or I didn't find out that was my dad until I was a grown-ass man or a grown-ass woman. And it's like, now you have to readjust who you are. Don't do that. You know what I mean?
Don't do that to the kids.
Own up to your, like, I get it. It's hard. It is hard to have that conversation, but it's harder to have that conversation with an adult. And that adult because that adult can look at you and be like, I don't need you in my life anymore. Goodbye. All because you couldn't own up to something when you were a young adult.
It's very true. It's very true. It's not worth it. And, the sad part about it is you did what you did to these children and to these families. You thought that you were, and I mean, honestly, it's a shame because, of course, there are times when sometimes you're in fertility facilities and things because the man has a lower sperm count, things like that. It's not always just the women, but it's sad because it's like these people, they have this hope and you dash their hopes and dreams by inserting yourself into their personal lives, and that's not your job. That was never the job. No. The job is to let nature do its job. Let nature do the work.
Do the work.
If it's meant for the two of them to conceive via fertility, however way that they come to you, then that's what it is. It's not your job to be like, hey, yo, bro, my sperm real strong. Give me about 5 seconds. I'm gonna just whack it off and I'll insert. That ain't it.
I don't even think he probably was like, I feel like I can make better, prettier children with your wife, sir. So let me just get in there.
Yeah. There was one woman that said on there, she thought she was adopted her whole life because she looked so different from everyone else. Because the rest of her family has brown hair, brown eyes. She got blonde hair, blue eyes. Who is this? Who am I? I'm looking in the mirror. I don't see none of y'all. You can't take this back to an auntie, or uncle, or grandparent, nothing. Like, what?
Listen, side note on that. I don't know if you've ever watched the show, and spoiler alert, guys, Jocelyn's Cabaret.
Yes.
Okay. Wet. In the recent episode. Well, not recent episode, recent season.
Wet, the real skinny one?
Yeah, and the titties. She always has her titties out.
Yeah, and she always popping a lot of shit, can't back it up. She just got beat up.
Yeah. She was telling the story about how she had 2 niggas, got pregnant, and she told her now baby father that he's the father based on the way the baby was holding her hands in the ultrasound.
What?
Yeah, so she didn't know who the father was. And she was like how when she saw the ultrasound, the way the baby was holding her hand, she's like, I know who your daddy is. And I'm like, bitch.
That has to be the most uneducated shit I've ever seen. Heard of.
You know what I mean? But it's like, now that we're talking about these moments, like even a moment like that, you're in your heart to heart, you're saying, oh, I know that's the daddy because of some hand gesture.
Like, shorty, just get the test. You can get it for free before you even leave the hospital.
Thank you. Just get the test.
Just get the test. It's not that deep.
Don't, like, fuck the nigga. What about the little girl?
Exactly. I had a coworker who said it didn't matter whether he was married or not. He would test his partner when they had a baby. because that was just his, that's just what he decided he wanted to do. And it's interesting because that was something that my husband and I used to debate about earlier in the relationship and when we were friends, because he's like, married or not, I'm getting my child tested. And I always thought, like, to me, it came off so disrespectful, because it's like, if you get the child tested, it's almost like you're questioning my morals and my womanhood. But I don't think, that's the debate of, is the issue that you're putting me into question by doing that you're getting a peace of mind for yourself, and it's not really about me. But one can't happen without the other. You know what I mean? So it's always such a touchy situation, because it's like, if you could trust me to take care of you and provide and be there for you for the rest of your life, be a partner for you for the rest of your life, but you would think that I would just go let niggas drop cum dumps inside of me? That doesn't add up.
Right?
Do you trust me or do you not trust me? Let me know so I can move accordingly. And I used to throw out like the idle threats, like, well, that's fine, because if you test the baby, when it comes back as it is, I'm gonna leave you in that ugly ass baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was literally how my mindset was, because it was just such an offense of, how can I trust someone who would think so little of me at such a beautiful moment in time?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I think also when it comes to situations like that and relationships and things, you have to work very hard to take ego out of it and just respect somebody's request, because it is a concern of theirs.
Yeah.
With or without, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, yeah, I know you, but I want to make sure I know this little tiny thing too. So I get it on both ends by this age in my life, or this stage in my life. But to be quite frank, I cannot confirm or deny that I would stay in a relationship with somebody that I've been loyal to who still does that, because it will make me feel like my
So then
loyalty
what? Yeah.
holds no weight or
No
validity
weight.
in our
No
relationship.
substance. Yep. I
Yep.
agree. If what I'm doing for you, or who you portray me as, isn't in a positive light, or I can't even see myself that way, then no, I'm not staying. I'm out.
I gotta head out.
Because
I gotta put me
I
first
like
with you.
myself.
I
like myself too much.
Too much.
I just see it this way. The children, it's about the children, okay? And I've always thought that way, even when I was younger. Like, if I'm gonna cheat, I'm gonna cheat. The moment I cheat and I get pregnant, I'm telling you, this may or may not be your child. It's not about you. It's about this kid.
About the child.
Yeah, and then there are men out there that will be like, "Yo, I'm not even sure if this is my kid," and just treat the child in a certain manner.
And you see, that's the catch, because, and this is why I said it's a catch-22 on this, where I can play devil's advocate, because there are so many manipulative females that will play that game. I don't think that Wet said that because she wanted to manipulate a man. I think she said that because she's dumb as shit. But there are a lot of females out there that will know the truth and stick to the lie so that it benefits them, because this man might have money, but the one that cum dumped into you is broke, or live with his mama, or this. So it's like, now you're being selfish in how you're choosing to go about this. I don't know. I think it might have been a spoof, but there was a video real quick. Remember a couple of years ago where she thought for her birthday or whatever, he had bought her a gift,
and
it was really the
gave
pregnancy
her
test.
A paternity
DNA
test
results
about that baby. Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, and it was like, I'm not holding you, against that. Be quite frank. So let me ask you this, and then we can get ready to close out. I don't like going over 45 minutes, y'all. But let me ask you this. If you found out, like on some Tyler Perry shit, you found out the man you were in a relationship with for years snuck and got a DNA test to make sure the child was theirs, but you found out in happenstance. It wasn't like he talked to you about it, confronted you about it, let you know.
You just stumbled upon it.
You just came across it a few years later, like, whoa. What are you gonna do,
girl?
Because let's and here, let me put it into focus for anybody that has never been in long-term relationships. And I know that doesn't apply to you, Nikki June, but let me put this into focus. We all make mistakes. We all fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever going to be one fuck up that trumps all the wins? One L that takes precedent over all the good times, all the glorious days, all the positive energy, all the growth that we've done? Will that one be? And mind you, we're not talking about child abuse. That's what we know. That's all.
No, yeah, but I feel like there is. I feel like there is, and
does this fall under that umbrella?
And I was just say, and this might be one of them. And the reason why I say that is because with my first child,
Mm-hmm.
The moment I was like, yo, I was with this nigga for 7 years and he acted a fool. Oh, that may not be my baby, yada, yada, yada. Cool. Come to the hospital when this bad boy pops out. You test her before she even turns 5 minutes old. Because I'm not playing this game. What made me never want to go back to him was the fact that he didn't even show up.
Popping all that shit and then come is crazy.
Okay. And that's what made me know for a fact that regardless on what happens in the future, I can never be with this man. Because you were gonna look at her, second guess, talk all this shit, not even back it up by showing to test her. We did get her tested because 2 weeks later he got the paternity test. But the problem is like, you've been doing all this fucked up shit. I haven't. Mm-hmm. You've been doing all this to turn around and have the audacity to second guess this child and then not even hold on your word.
Yeah, stand by that shit, punk.
Yeah, stand on it. So to say that if I were to catch that would piss me off. I'd be like, so you couldn't even be man enough to look me in my eyes and say, I believe that this may not be my child. Let me test this kid. You went behind my back. You got the baby tested. You realized, oh, this is my baby. And you still didn't say nothing to me?
But let's say it's been 5 years. He's a completely different man. He bought you a home. You guys are living good. You go on family vacations. He takes the baby to and from school.
Right, but now that makes me feel like you did all of this based on the fact that you got a confirmation without having a conversation.
And that's the conflict. That's the internal conflict. Should he not? Why should he put out his best self if you're a whore?
So talk to me about
that's the conflict. I might think you're that's the conflict.
Don't sit down in your head, because then what else is going on in your head at this point now that you're not telling me?
Shit. Girl, I think it'll be a conversation for eternity when it comes to the battle of the sexes and paternity, because I get both sides. I really, truly do. But it's like...
I get it too, but at the end of the day, if you want the paternity, if you're grown enough to open your legs and have this child and have that second guess, you should be grown enough to have a conversation. Point blank.
I agree. I will not hold you on that. I agree.
So if I find that
communication
shit 10 years from now,
always essential.
Yeah.
Because my theory is this: I might not like what you said, how you said it, when you said it, but it was said. And now that I know, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to walk away? Am I going to hold that L? Am I going to consider or think through and do some self-reflection? Where do I want you to be in my life after this? But you've given me the opportunity. You put it back in the court for me to make a choice about my life and where you or the child stand in it.
Exactly.
I definitely believe that. Stand on that shit. Men, if nothing else, if that's how you feel, if that's what you want,
then you stand on that shit. On it. And if she's going to pile out on you, for you to hold that shit quietly, and it's the same thing for these women. Women, if you're going to sleep with multiple men and not know who the daddy is, stand on that. Open your mouth the same way you opened your legs and tell these niggas who may or may not be the father.
Amen and amen and amen. That's the end of this episode.
And with that being said,
I hope y'all enjoyed this one. Let me know your thoughts. What would you have done if you found out through a 23andMe that your father was not your father after he spent his whole life raising you?
And then had the audacity to tell you he's going to take your ass to court if you keep it up. I'm chopping off your dick.
You got to get to it first. He was protected.
You know what I mean? His whole cult had his back.
Mm-hmm. They sure enough did. So you guys listen. The podcast is just giving you a little sprinkle of the story, but you can watch it on Netflix's, and this is for free, Netflix, if you ain't paying me yet, but you can watch it on Netflix. It's called Our Father, and I think it came out this year. I think it came out May of 23, but it may have come out May of 22. Either way, phenomenal documentary. I'm a documentary lunatic, and this one had to be done because for me, there's nothing more toxic than not taking responsibility of the role that you should have played in children's lives. There's nothing more toxic than leaving other people to clean up your dirty messes. There's nothing more toxic than dying in your sin, knowing that you have not apologized and you left a whirlwind of hurt on this planet. It's evil, it's manipulative, it's conniving, it gives supremacy, it gives arrogance, it gives everything, narcissist, it gives it all. Sociopath, psychopath, may he receive, let me say this about people who are like this. I'm going to say this and then I'm going to close it out. May you get nothing that you want and everything you deserve, Doctor. And that's all I got to say on it.
All right, everyone stay toxic.
Boom. See you guys next week. Thank you so much if you made it this far. I appreciate you. Can you drop your handle one more time, Nikki? That way they know where to find you.
You can find me at Nikki June on IG. You can also find me at dare.2.b.natty. That's where the card game is, coming out soon.
Boom. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to y'all later. Love y'all.
Bye.
Be blessed. Goodbye.